I first want to say that we are Piscataway Indians, and that is actually the English way to say the name, and Piscataway. And when we traveled to the east, we brought with us corn, beans, and squash. And in the garden here, that's what we have: corn, beans, and squash, which we today refer to as the Three Sisters.
And we have a lot of work to do in terms of helping people in the area, in DC, the metro area, to understand who we are and listen to our story, and get the Piscataway name out there and say, we've been here 13,000 years. We are still here.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of celebrations that we celebrate. Most of them are agricultural based. And so in the spring is our New Year. Not in January. January, everything is dormant. And so in April and May, when the world is coming back and being renewed, that is when we get together. And then we have a harvest celebration, and then we have a fall celebration, and then a winter where we remember those who have gone on to the spirit world. And in between that, we have various small celebrations that we did not celebrate birthdays back then, but we certainly did celebrate when a boy and a girl became of age. And so one thing I wanted to point out, when Crystal had her coming of age gathering, a party, yeah, many elders participate in this, and they look you in your eyes, and they want you to understand your responsibility as a child coming out of childhood and working into adulthood. And she didn't realize it at the time. She's taking my place. It's time for her to step into my place, as it was a time for me when I stepped into my grandma's place. And this is going to keep moving from generation to generation. And there may be times when we're frustrated, we say, oh, we don't want to do this. But we have to. There's something that's in our DNA that cannot let this go. And so we will continue to celebrate these celebrations and pass it down from one generation to the next, whatever that may be. Because also from one generation to the next, it's different. It's different. We are so excited because the museum, of course, represents the history of the past. We haven't been able to move perhaps from the 1900s forward. But every year, as we dig more and more into our research of our past, we are excited to find so many new things that we can share with the general public, and especially the students that come here to visit. And so we want to start with talking about our Confederacy.
So the Piscataway was the largest tribe in this area. And we had a confederacy of about 9 lower or sub-tribes. I wouldn't say lower because that always means demeaning, but sub-tribes. They were smaller bands of us, and one of those were the Anacostia, that their main area was near the Anacostia River. And that's something that we're starting to revisit and learn about as well, because this area was a really strong area for trade, even within our nations, prior to European contact. Mm-hmm. So it's like DC is such a big area for law and politics, and it was that way prior to European contact as well.
I think what's very interesting is that very, very early on, we were pushed away from the waters. And the waters were very important to us. Quite naturally, we can think of the things that we use water for bathing, for cooking, food, and for trade. Our way of traveling is with either foot or canoe. And so we need the water in order to travel. And the bodies of waters, the Potomac, the Anacostia, and all of those kind of blend into each other. So we weren't this like group of people who just stayed at Piscataway Creek, or, you know, that's the only place we went. We traveled these waters and over to the Chesapeake, which was teeming with wildlife and aquatic life. And so we did a lot of traveling using these very bodies of water. But after European contact, they needed to be able to use those bodies of water to ship the main product, which they came here for, was tobacco. Shipping tobacco, growing tobacco here in Virginia and Maryland, and then shipping it back to England. And so because of that, they pushed us further and further away from the water. And I feel very sad about that, especially when people ask us about our relationship to the water. Well, I was not born in 16-something, nor was I born in 17-something. So my relationship to the water is much different now than it was for my ancestors. But we did everything we possibly could to stay as close to the water as we could without being tormented by European encroachment and the like. But we still use the water for fishing, and especially fishing, and swimming, and water activities, as you would say. But not in the way, of course, by what I'm saying, is different from the way my ancestors used the water. And I think it's kind of unfair to ask us to interpret a history of 300 to 400 years ago that we did not have a direct relationship to. So we can only interpret what our ancestors did at that time and how they used the water. But water is, without a doubt, very, very important to us, as is Mother Earth. And it is important to, as this museum, to portray the importance of not only the human kingdom, but for the animal kingdom, and the bird kingdom, and the aquatic kingdom. These are kingdoms. We call them kingdoms because we share this earth with these kingdoms. And it is not for us to treat them with any, as Crystal was saying, even to say a lower. We are not to look at animals as though they are lower. They are equal with us.
We are all related. We are one relation.
And we cannot treat the earth or the water or the sky indifferent. We must treat it as a living being. If we can see it that way, then we can look at some of the things that we are doing today to destroy the water. I get very upset when I see brown stuff floating. And when we read back when the Europeans first arrived, they said the waters were teeming with lots of fish, so much that their ships could hardly sail through. And today, if we catch something this big, we're excited. But is it safe to eat it? I don't know. And so our fishing, of course, would be diminished because of the pollution in the water.
We also did oystering too. The
Right.
Oysters were a vital part of our diet. And it was a vital part of the rivers and the waterways too. They are filters. They clean our waters. And now, in the Chesapeake, the Potomac, and many rivers, they're dying. They're dying out. And now our water is polluted extremely. So that's an issue. And I wanted to add also that, you know, with our people, when European contact, let me say English contact, because it's just not European, English contact here, we tried to find a way to survive. And the way to do that, we just, what's the word? Conformed. Because we understood that it was more important for the next generation to survive than just my generation. You understand? So,
yes.
And to me, I also look at that as a way to say, this is how our wildlife is surviving too.
Yes.
They adapt to us.
Yeah.
They adapt to the way we live. So, like the squirrels,
Right.
they have to learn how to cross the road because they try to adapt to us so that they can survive. And I think it's sad, but it's amazing, and that's something that we should learn and, you know, take within us and change the way we are doing and adapt the way we are living with Mother Earth.
I think that when we speak about America, of course, we being the indigenous people of the land, that was something that this kind of thought may have been something that was not thought of. But now I think even today, as people, no matter who you are also having to learn to adapt. And what we went through 1,000 years ago, Americans are going through that right this moment. They're having to learn how to adapt to the ever-changing of the world and our society as well. So what goes around comes around, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.